Today, we're taking a virtual walk through the marble streets of one of the most incredible ancient cities on Earth, Ephesus. Now, this wasn't just some other Roman town. It was a true metropolis, an absolute powerhouse of wealth, culture, and, yeah, even conflict. So let's dive into its story.
Right off the bat, you need to understand that Ephesus was no ordinary city. In its prime, it was such a juggernaut of trade and finance, so critical to the Roman economy that it was literally called the Bank of Asia Minor. As the capital of the Roman province of Asia, this was a global city, through and through.
And what a city it was. At its absolute peak in the 1st century AD, we think about 250,000 people called Ephesus home. I mean, that's 250,000 people. It easily made it one of the 5 biggest cities in the entire Mediterranean, a real melting pot of cultures, languages, and new ideas.
But what really makes Ephesus so fascinating is this incredible tension, a tale of two powerful competing forces. For centuries, it was the proud, beating heart of the cult of the goddess Artemis, and yet it also became one of the most important hubs for the spread of early Christianity. You can almost feel that spiritual tug-of-war in the very stones of the city.
You know, the history here is just immense. It started as a Greek colony way back around 1000 BCE, got a makeover from Alexander the Great, and then under Rome, it just exploded into a powerhouse. But in the end, it wasn't some conquering army that brought Ephesus to its knees. It was geology. The city's harbor, its very lifeline, slowly but surely filled up with silt, and that sealed its fate.
All right, so let's start our tour where all the big decisions were made, the upper city. Think of this as the administrative heart of Ephesus, the absolute seat of Roman power, and the place where the city really showed off its loyalty to the empire. Up here, you find the core of city government. You've got the state agora, which was the main political square. Then there's the Prytaneon, kind of like a town hall, which held a sacred eternal flame to symbolize the city's life. And right nearby is the Odeon, a beautiful little theater that served as the meeting place for the city council. Ephesus proudly held this really prestigious title, Neokoros, which means guardian of the imperial temple. And this wasn't just some fancy nickname they gave themselves. Nope, they earned it. They were the first city in the whole region to build a temple dedicated to the Roman emperors. Talk about a brilliant political move to cement their special relationship with Rome. Okay, so once we leave the government buildings, we start heading down one of the most impressive avenues in the entire ancient world, Curate Street. This beautiful marble road was the main artery connecting that formal upper city with the noisy, bustling commercial and social hubs down below. And look, carved right into the hillside, you see the incredible terrace houses. This is where the super rich of Ephesus lived. We're talking luxury, multi-story homes decorated with the most stunning mosaics, vibrant frescoes, and the finest marble. Walking through them today, it seriously feels like you've stepped right into a Roman villa. As we keep walking, you pass one stunning monument after another, like the beautifully restored Temple of Hadrian and the grand Fountain of Trajan. But honestly, for a real peek into everyday life, you have to check out the public latrines. It's a marvel of Roman engineering, complete with a full-on running water system. And at the very end of Curate Street stands maybe the most iconic landmark in the entire city, the Library of Celsus. That breathtaking facade is one of the most famous images of the Roman world, for sure. But here's a cool fact. It wasn't just a library. It was also built as a massive, monumental tomb for a former governor named Celsus. As a major center for learning, this place was designed to hold over 12,000 scrolls. I mean, think about that. This made it one of the great libraries of the ancient world, proving that Ephesus wasn't just rich in gold, it was incredibly rich in knowledge and culture too. All right, so from the quiet world of knowledge at the library, we're now moving into the lower city. And trust me, the vibe down here is completely different. This was the loud, bustling heart of daily life, the center of commerce, entertainment, and, as we're about to see, some major social upheaval. Now, Ephesus had 2 theaters, and they could not have been more different. We already saw the small, intimate Odeon up in the government district, but down here, dominating the landscape, is the Great Theater, and it was built for a whole different purpose, on a completely different scale. The scale is just mind-blowing. The Great Theater could pack in 25,000 spectators, making it the biggest in the entire region. This wasn't just for plays, this was for everything. Gladiator fights, huge public announcements, you name it. Even standing in it today, you can feel how immense this place is.
And this very theater, it was the stage for one of the most dramatic events in the city's history. See, the Apostle Paul's preaching became so popular, it started to threaten the livelihood of the local silversmiths who made their money selling little shrines of Artemis. So they incited a massive riot that exploded right here in this space, a powerful clash between a new faith and old money.
And that riot, well, it takes us right to the spiritual soul of the city. Because the story of Ephesus really is defined by the tension between two powerful faiths, the ancient, deeply rooted cult of Artemis and the explosive rise of Christianity. I mean, the Temple of Artemis, this place was legendary, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. For centuries, pilgrims came from all over the globe to see it. But after it was destroyed, its precious marble was stripped away and used for other buildings. Today, all that's left to mark the spot of this glorious wonder is a single, lonely column standing in a marshy field.
But in stark contrast, the Christian legacy here just flourished. St. John the Apostle is believed to have lived in Ephesus, maybe even with the Virgin Mary. After he was exiled, he came back and was buried on a hill just nearby. His tomb became so important that the Byzantine Emperor Justinian built a gigantic basilica right on top of it.
Ephesus was also the setting for another game-changing moment for Christianity. In the year 431 AD, a major church council gathered right here and officially gave the Virgin Mary the title Theotokos. That means Mother of God or God-bearer, a concept that is absolutely foundational to Christianity, and it was decided right here. So how can you experience all this incredible history for yourself? Well, if you're thinking of going, you need to know that a trip to Ephesus is more than just the main archaeological park. To really get the full story, you have to visit a few key sites in the nearby town of Selçuk. Here's what I'd recommend. First, you absolutely have to start at the Ephesus Museum in Selçuk. It gives you so much context. Then, head up Ayasuluk Hill to wander through the impressive ruins of St. John's Basilica. And a lot of visitors also make a pilgrimage to the very peaceful House of the Virgin Mary, which is located on a nearby mountain.
And seriously, I cannot stress this enough. Do not skip the museum. This is where you'll come face to face with the city's real treasures, like the iconic, unforgettable statues of Artemis Ephesia and the colossal remains of a statue of Emperor Domitian. Seeing them in person really brings the power and the artistry of the city to life. You see, Ephesus isn't just one story. It's a story of raw imperial power, of unbelievable wealth, of brilliant minds and architecture, and of a spiritual clash that helped shape the world we live in today. The only real question is, when you finally get to walk on these ancient stones, which one of those stories is going to speak to you?